for a little guide, looking for a little guidance. It's deep inside my soul, power and divineness, like a river, let it flow. I'm looking for a little guidance to fight away all this fear, trying to get out of this virus. Seems like days and months and years. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. 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 I'm looking for a little guidance to wipe away all these fears. My daddy's on another island, shooting for 100 years. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. 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 I'm looking for a little guidance. It's deep inside my soul, power and divineness, like a river, let it flow. I'm looking for a little guidance to wipe away all these fears. My daddy's on another island, shooting for 100 years. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. 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 I'm looking for a little guidance. It's deep inside my soul, power and divineness, like a river, let it flow. I'm looking for a little guidance to fight away all these fears, trying to get out of this virus. Seems like days and months and years.
Good morning and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Denver's online service for Sunday, September 20th, 2020. We are a loving, expansive, powerful, and prosperous community in the heart of Capitol Hill and here online. And now for some announcements. We will continue to meet online for the foreseeable future and will make announcements about our return to in-person services via our newsletter. Please make sure you visit our website, csldenver.org, and make sure you're signed up for our newsletter. Other upcoming announcements. Today, rather than our virtual fellowship on Zoom, we'll be gathering together at 1 p.m. in Congress Park for a in-person fellowship. Yes, we'll be social distancing. This will happen from 1 p.m. to 2:30, and we invite you to join us on the northeast corner of 8th Avenue and Josephine Street in front of the cascading wall at the eastern end of the park near the shade tree. Bring a mask, a folding chair, food and beverage for yourself. Perhaps you're sun hat, and maybe even some sunscreen, and we'll connect for a bit there in the park. If you have any questions, please send a quick email to info@csldenver.org, and we'll make sure you get these details again. Also, this coming week, Reverend Elzia will be continuing his Keys to Consciousness series. This is Module 3, Keys to the Spiritual Path, and there's still time to join in the group. We meet on Wednesdays from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. via Zoom, and the cost is a love offering. Just send a quick email to info@csldenver.org, and we'll make sure you get all the details. Also upcoming, on October 4th, Haley Korf will provide a workshop for us on trauma. What you'll learn is what trauma is, the misconceptions of trauma, the manifestations in trauma, and how to cope with trauma. At this time, in all that we're going through, so many around us are experiencing some forms of trauma, and we want to be able to support them. Join us on the 4th as Haley shares her expertise. All right, if you have any questions on any of our events or upcoming activities, please send an email to info@csldenver.org, and we'll make sure that you get all the details. And hey, we're still putting together a photo album. If you have any pictures you'd be willing to share with us and allow us to use on our website and in our services, just send them over to info@csldenver.org. Please join us in this fun activity as we create a 2020 yearbook for CSL Denver. Well, that's all I have, so let's get back down into the music. Today, this is The Face of God with Karen Drucker.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God.
Tu es l'image de Dieu.
I hold you in my heart.
Tu es l'image de l'amour.
You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God.
Tu sei la luce di Dio.
I hold you in my heart.
Tu sei il volto dell'amore.
You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. The face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. The face of love. You are the face of love. The face of love. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. You are the face of God, the face of God. I hold you in my heart, you in my heart. You are a part of me, a part of me. You are the face of God, the face of God. You are the face of God.
Eres la luz de Dios.
I hold you in my heart.
Eres la cara del amor.
You are a part of me. You are the face of God. 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 La luce di Dio. You are the face. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. L'image de Dieu. You are the face. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. La luz de Dios. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of God. You are the face of God.
Good morning. I'm Rumi Engineer, a practitioner at Science of Mind, Center for Spiritual Living. And I welcome you today. Let us pray. We know that each one of us, are the face of God. God within, God around and through us. And this is a blessing in this sacred space, a blessing to each one of us who participate in this service, which is a sacred service, a blessing that goes out from us into this world, knowing that all is well and everything that is happening in its own time, its own way. And we have faith that we are blessed, we are safe, and we know that Spirit, the power of the Spirit, is working through us, each one of us. So I bless Reverend Elzia with his message, which is a powerful one today. I bless Reverend Robert for all that he does for us to bring this service. I bless Alice for the amount of work that she puts in every week to make this a successful, wonderful service. And I bless the practitioners and every member of the congregation who are here and who could not join us today. And I bless this world, our country, our family. All humans are our family. And I release my prayer into the law, knowing that it is heard, knowing that it is done. And together we say, and so it is. And today's reading is from Ernest Holmes and Willis Skinner, A New Design for Living. What is faith? Regardless of how exalted it may be, it is only a definite way of thinking. Broadly speaking, faith means a conviction about something that is stronger than anything which may appear to deny it. We need faith in the creative intelligence in the universe, faith in the fact that things can be better, and faith in the spiritual causation back of all things, so that we are not confused by appearances. Faith is a transcendent principle, and through it we may overcome situations or change experiences more to our heart's desire. Everyday living would come to a quick stop if we did not have faith. There would be nothing that could be depended upon. There would be nothing that we could trust. We would be fearful of our every move because of possible dire consequences. We have faith. We know certain things work in a certain way, and that is all there is to it. The same kind of faith we need to develop in another aspect of our living, the most important aspect, the realm of the mind. And an affirmation from Ernest Holmes. I believe, I accept. I know there is a power greater than I am. I know it is right where I am. I know it is working for me, as me, through me. And so it is. And now, back to Freddie and a song.
My faith in you is being tested. The more I think like you, it's a great investment. My faith in you can't be protested. The more I'm one with you, I'm more enlightened. My faith in you will surely lift me. Your faith in God will always guide you. Our faith in you will surely lift us. Our faith in you will always protect us. My faith, your faith, our faith.
Good morning once again, and welcome to CSL Denver, a place, a space, and a face of love. We are a spiritual community using universal principles to enhance our lives and the lives of others. And we're so glad you're here with us today. And Freddie, I want to thank you for those wonderful songs today that just so joyously and so wonderfully express this month's theme. This month's theme of facing the fear. Now, today we will look at this whole thing of facing the fear, and we will look at it from the perspective of this week's theme, which is faith is the oil that takes the friction out of life. Faith is the oil that takes the friction out of life. Now, as we look around today, there are stories and images and words that are so vast and so wide and so earth shattering that it will cause anyone to be paralyzed in their steps, to just cower down, if you will, with fear, because there's so much going on in so many arenas that we just feel that we don't know what to do. We don't know who to call. We don't know where to go. But I would submit to you that we should not paralyze the fear. We should not be put in a box because of fear, and that we should allow ourselves to be fearless. We should allow ourselves to move forward with confidence. And so the question becomes, how am I to proceed? What am I to do? How do I move forward and bring a balance into life? Now, you see, Ernest Holmes says this: no fear can remain where faith holds sway. Faith reunites us with the original creative spirit, the divine mind, which already exists in the center of our being. In the center of our being. So you see, no matter how fearful we are, no matter how difficult the task may seem, we've already been equipped with a faith, with a connection to the divine, with an idea that allows us to move forward, even in the face of fear, that we should not worry. Now, I'd like to tell a story here that I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, are very familiar with. It's the story of Moses. Because you see, if you remember that story of Moses, Moses was out in the wilderness taking care of his flock, and he saw a fire in the distance. And he goes over to the fire, as you know, and he's curious. So he goes there and he sees it's the fire, and it is the presence of God itself. And he is fearful. He's like, what is this? And God tells him, this is sacred place. Take your shoes off. Basically saying to him, relax, go within. And he does. And he goes through this conversation with God, and God describes who he is. And then God gives him a task. God said, go to Pharaoh and say, let my people go. Let my people go. Now, if you know the story of Moses, he must have been terrified to hear that, because as the story goes, Moses had a stammer. He was a stammerer. And he was like, how am I going to communicate and command fear to go away? To ask the powers that be, that is bringing down all manner of insurrection, trouble and stuff to the people, to cause insurrection. And God said, fear not, I'm going to give you your brother Aaron, who can speak for you, who will be able to say things that you may not be able to say. And so as the story goes, Moses goes down to Pharaoh, he does his thing, and he gets Pharaoh to let the people go. Now imagine the fear that Moses must have had. He's going against the most powerful leader in the land, with all the resources and all of the court jesters and magicians and sages all at his command. And it was just Moses with the idea of this inner voice that said, I am that I am. I command you to go do this. Well, you see, that's where we are right now. That story, like all stories of spiritual importance or mythical consequences, all of those stories speaks to you and me. They're telling a story about us, who we are, the things that we have within us, how we can proceed forward in life and be successful. So the task becomes, what are you going to do? How are you going to face these fears? How are you going to command the powers that be to let my people go, to let us live a life of balance and harmony, and live under the guise of a loving, merciful, and compassionate God as one humanity? Well, I'd like to give you three points that I think will make that very, very clear. The first thing, and you've probably heard this a lot, the primary question is, what is mine to do? What is mine to do? Because I'm sure when Moses got called, he was, Lord, this ain't mine to do. You've given me a task way too big. I'm not prepared. I'm not equipped. I can't speak to the issue. But in that story, God provided an answer by saying, I will give you all that you need if you just have faith. Maintain your faith in me, and all else will be open unto you. And so, as you know, Moses went before the courts and he did this, and they would give their magic, if you will, and he would counter it with his power and mercy from God. So the first thing he had to decide, even with all the fear that he may have been facing, he had to decide what is mine to do and then take it on. It's okay to say what's mine to do, but you have to at some point move forward. You have to practice it. You have to live it. You have to become the embodiment of that faith that says, this is mine to do. And once you've got your arms around that and you understand what it is that is yours to do, the next thing that we have to step forward with is to approach life boldly, to be bold about our conviction, to be bold about our faith, to move forward in a way that allows us to really, really, really have confidence in what we're doing, knowing that we're backed up, pressed up, and fortified by the power and the presence of God. You see, this is what it takes to be successful. We have to act as if everything depended on us and trust that all is followed up by God, because that is the interplay of the universe. That is how we communicate and live by faith and not by sight to make things happen in this world. And last but not least, we have this idea of being a living example. Being a living example. So that means we have to walk in that faith. We have to do the things that we sometimes fear doing. We have to be the drum major, if you will, for peace, to remove fear, to be gallant and valiant in our efforts to bring about a humanity that works for everyone. Now, we send out prayers to Justice Ginsburg, who passed away this week. And she is she is the epitome of living example. When you look at when she came onto the court and what she did and how she did it, she was a faith in action. She allowed herself to be an example of how you command justice and step forth in difficult odds and be able to allow the God within to step forth and speak power to truth. To be able to say, this is where I stand and I'm going to put myself firmly here, to live that truth, to be that truth, and to be an example and to encourage others to do the same. Now, as you know, she was a small woman in stature, but she was gigantic in her voice, in her power, in her presence. And that is what we all are called to do. What is ours to do, and then stand in it. Stand in that power, stand in that presence of God, and speak power to fear, to worry, to anything that takes us out of the flow of God, kicks us out of harmony with humanity, and cause us to be in fear and paralyzed by everything we see around us. Now, we've all heard this fear acronym, or most of us may have. I don't want to be that presumptuous. There's the acronym that says fear stands for false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. Now, if we look back at the story of Moses, you know, the magician threw down his thing and the snake was there, that was false appearing real. He threw down the truth. That snake was eaten by his truth, by his power that came from God. So although we see fires and floods and all manner of things going on around us, let's not give in to that fear. Let's not let this whole idea of fake news move us from standing on the truth. The truth hurtled against falsehood will knock its brains out. And that's what we have to do. That's what we are called to do. And we have to do that faithfully, because as we can see right now, it is going to be coming from all ends. It's a time for all spiritual journeys, if you will, to step up to the plate, to step up and be accounted, to step up and hold the flame of truth, justice, humanity, power, peace, compassion, so that we all can live a life of grace and joy. Now, I found this other acronym for faith. I hadn't heard it before, but I really like it to juxtapose it to the acronym of fear. And that acronym says fully anticipating it to happen. Fully anticipating it to happen. That's what faith is. You move forward anticipating the results is going to be great. Anticipating that, hey, this is going to happen right here, right now. And that's sometimes hard, to stare fear in the face and say, fear, move over. Telling that mountain to move over. Now, Ernest Helms, he says this. He says it this way. He says, if one will have faith in himself, faith in his fellow man, in the universe, and in God, that faith will light the place in which he finds himself. And by that light of this faith, he will be able to see that all is good. And the light shed by this faith will light the way for others. We become conscious of darkness only when we are without faith. So those dark moments that we see, those fearful moments that we see, they come about when we don't have that internal faith, that fortitude that lights the way for us and for everyone. And so when we do this, the thing to say is, hey, what's mine to do? Once I figure that out, I have to step boldly into that idea, step boldly forward with the faith that says, I can do this. It can be done. With the power and presence of God, we can do all things. And in that process, in that living of life, we become a living example. We become the living example of faith. We become the living example of truth. We become who we were created and born to be, and that is children of the Most High God, exemplifying all the powers that be. And so I'd like to close with this saying, this little short phrase that I think sums up what we're trying to do, what we're trying to say, and how we're trying to live in this current times. It says, faith is the oil that takes the friction out of life. Faith will enable you to turn liabilities into assets and stumbling blocks into stepping stones. When you begin to have faith, your load will get heavy, but your knees won't buckle. You may get knocked down, but you won't get knocked out. You must believe in yourself and a power greater than yourself, and do the best and don't worry about the rest. You must maintain faith and work as if everything depended on you, and pray as if everything depended on God. As if everything depended on God, because that is that hidden power. That is those resources that are unseen that steps in and help molds and folds what we are trying to do in life and create a presence and a place for all to be loved and liked and prosperous and use themselves to the fullest. So this week, as we move forward and looking at this idea of faith is the oil that take the friction out of life, this belief, this understanding that no matter what we're facing, no matter what situation we're in, there is a power that can ease this and oil all the gears of life so that we move easily and effortlessly at all times. So the call to action for this week is practice approaching life boldly, with confidence and assurance, and with love. And with love, because we will face some things that will upset us and will cause us to move towards that fear, that false evidence appearing real, and we will begin to gravitate to that and think it is real. But let's go boldly with anticipation and assurance and confidence and love so that we can be in a great space to be compassionate to everyone, and sometimes, most of all, to ourselves. Most of all, to ourselves. And so the affirmation for this week is this: I surrender into the grace of the one, knowing I am divinely guided in all I do. Divinely guided in all that I do. So let's go forth this week with that idea that we are guided by God, that we are one, and surrendering into that grace, that we can speak power to mountains and they will move. We can speak power to Pharaoh and he will crumble under the power of the divine. Let us pray. Dear Mother, Father God, that creative balance force of life, that place where creativity and imagination and creative impetus says to a thing be, and it is. To allow life to unfold in a magical and beautiful way, a way that is connected and a way that is ensured to succeed. Because you see, this is the power of all there is. And all there is God, and everything else is an expression of God that we must align ourselves with and make ourselves aware of that presence. And to do that fully, to harness that power, we must give up fear. We must move away from all the false evidence that says there is something other than God. There is only God. There's always been only God, and there will always be only God. And so as we adjust our position to that understanding, as we begin to realize that God is more than just a word, it's more than just some idea. It is a power. It is a presence. It is a flowing energy that animates the entire world. And so right here, right now, I know we as a collective community, as a global family, we align ourselves with that idea. We align ourselves knowing that we can call forth a power and a presence that will cause all fear to dissipate. Move forward, knowing and anticipating that that thing is exactly as we say it is, as long as we are aligned with God. And so I know right here that this week and every week going forward, that we will boldly step forth in life. As it says, we will boldly go where no man has gone before, and that is to face fear head on with the power of God. And so I know each and every one of us are fortified, and our heart is filled with joy, and our heart is filled with the powerful words and actions and deeds that allow everyone to see what happens, a living example, when you align yourself with the power of God. And so as we align ourselves and we begin to move easily and effortlessly through life, allowing this faith to keep the gears of everyday living greased and easily moving and moving forward, knowing that they are going to provide whatever it is we need. We just give thanks. We give thanks because we can look back over time and look at our lives, and we can see where in those moments where we did that, where we aligned ourselves and we trusted and had faith, we made it through. And so right now we know that that is the case for each and every one of us, that we are aligned with God, a power, a presence, an unseen force that makes things happen. And so as we release this, knowing that all is well, that God is good, and there is no place, absolutely no place where God is not, we stand firmly in that belief, knowing that we are the ones we've been waiting for. And so we just release and let it be. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Elzia. Beautiful talk. I need to remember, I am divinely guided by God.
Yes. Yes, we are.
Yes, absolutely. And now it's time for our offertory. We are so grateful and blessed for everyone's support of CSL Denver, whether it's in time, treasure, or talent, and especially during this time of change. So whether this is your first time joining us or you are a returning community participant, we want to thank you so much for your continuing financial support of the important work we are striving to provide. And right now, there are several ways you can make your financial contribution to Center for Spiritual Living Denver. This information is running along the bottom of the screen right now. And we've had some technical difficulties with our donate button on our website for anybody who has tried that in the past week, but it is now up and running smoothly, so please feel free to use it. Thank you so much. And if you haven't already done it and you shop at King Soopers and or Amazon Smile, you can link your account to Center for Spiritual Living Denver, and we will receive a percentage of all proceeds. So email us if you would like more information on this option. And that's info@cslddenver.org. Now, please repeat with me our usual affirmation, holding your gift in your hand. This perfect gift is spirit and form, circulating and blessing all that it touches. Freely I give, and joyously I receive. And so it is. And thank you all so much. And we have a last few announcements. Remember, when Reverend Robert announced earlier that our fellowship is actually in person with mask and social distancing in place. So today from 1 to 2:30, we are having an in-person fellowship in Congress Park. And it's on the northeast corner of 8th Avenue and Josephine Street in front of the cascading wall at the eastern end of the park near the shade trees. So you can email Harry Chance at hc603@msn.com or text him at 303-377-5453 for more information on the location. Or if you just want to do info at cslddenver.org, that works just as well. And it's still not too late to take the keys to a spiritual path, the 4-week class taught by Reverend Elzia. It's for the next 3 Wednesdays from 6 to 8 p.m. via Zoom. So you can send an email to info@cslddenver.org, and we can send you the student workbook and get you started, and the Zoom invitation, and get you started. So thank you once again, everybody. We love you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful week, and know that we're here for you. You can contact any of our practitioners on our website, www.cslddenver.org, and we are happy to pray with you on the phone, and know that we're here for you. So now we're back to Freddie for our last song. Thank you so much.
My faith in you is being Can we listen to that one small voice? Can we listen? Listen to your heart. Can we listen to that one small voice? Listen to your heart, to your heart, to your heart. It's a journey. It begins small voice. Can we listen? Listen to your heart. Can we listen? Yeah. To the one small voice. Listen to your heart, to your heart, to your heart. Faith like oil takes the friction out of life. Take the action. Pray every night. The light will swing.